housekeeping related checks. Let us know whether we are audible and can you see the screen. You can key in your response in the chat box, please. Okay, so we see a lot of yes. Great. One more. If you can keep on posting your questions or queries in the question box, and we have a gentleman sitting out here who will be noting all these questions, which we will take at the end of the session in our Q&A segment. We will be starting exactly in 30 seconds now. Good morning to the attendees from the US and good afternoon to the folks joining from Europe and Africa. And my marketing team informs me we have people joining in from Australia also, which is I think an early morning for them. So good morning to folks from Australia. Welcome to the webinar on enhancing unified communication experience through Microsoft Lync SDK and UCMA. I am Anjani Kumar Shukla, the General Manager of Business Development at Harbinger Systems. I am so pleased to be with you tonight and to have the chance to introduce our speaker, Dinesh Vaidya. Dinesh, with over 7+ years of experience in design and development of Windows core and enterprise scale applications, is our in-house MS Lync and UCMA expert. He has worked on multitude of challenging projects with technologies ranging from UCMA SDK 3.0, Lync SDK 3.0, WDM, that is Windows Driver Model, Windows Driver Foundation, that is WDF, frameworks, etc. Dinesh has been one of the main proponents from unified communication technologies at Harbinger and has an in-depth understanding of MS Lync and UCMA architecture. He is also a fascinating person and we are all in for a treat today. Without further ado, I hand over the presentation to Dinesh. Dinesh, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Anjani, for this wonderful introduction. Before I start with my part, I would like to tell all of you that we have a mixed audience today. So we have some technical people, some non-technical people. So I try my level best to strike a balance and strike a balance between the technical stuff and the non-technical stuff so all of us can understand what's going on. So the agenda for today's session, I'll start with Microsoft Lync Server, something about Microsoft Lync Server, and then we will discuss about the software development kits which work with Microsoft Lync Server platform. So we will first take a look at the client-side SDK, which is the Lync SDK, and then I'll cover a couple of examples of applications developed using Lync SDK. Later on, we will move towards the UCMA, which stands for Unified Communications Managed API, and then which is the server side of SDK, and then I'll cover a couple of examples for the applications developed using UCMA. Then I'll summarize, and then I'll be taking your questions. So the explanation part will go on for around 30 minutes, and then we'll have a 10 minutes questions and answers session. So here, let's start. So here's the first slide. Are you able to see my screen? I'm seeing some network problems. Okay. So what is Microsoft Lync Server? So here is a question for all of you. So what is Microsoft Lync Server? So I have a question for all of you. So do you use any real-time collaboration services like instant messaging or voice over IP or desktop sharing, for getting in touch with your colleagues or collaborating with your colleagues. And I'm sure many of you will say yes. These services are fast. These are easy to use, and moreover, they save a lot of time and money. For any big or small application, I would say, in my opinion, it should have a platform where it will allow the users or people from the organization to collaborate, get in touch with each other, to host online meetings, to join online meetings, join conferences, so that they can collaborate and the overall productivity and the output is improved. And Microsoft Lync Server provides an infrastructure for all these real-time collaboration services, so that we can use instant messaging and then voice over IP, conferencing, resource sharing, presence information publishing, and etc. So these are all real-time services or features which Microsoft Lync Server exposes. And to use all these features, there is a default client called as Microsoft Lync, which gets installed on your PC. So when we learn about such a fascinating communication server and such a host of features, many questions actually pop up in our minds, especially if we are developers or people who design innovative solutions. Like, how can I customize this client? Or how can I use all these good features in my existing business applications? Or can I write a client of my own? And the answer to all these questions is a big yes. And I can do it using the Lync SDK. So what is Lync SDK? It is nothing but a set of client APIs and UI controls which help us customize the Lync client, extend the Lync client, or use the Lync features in existing business applications. And another question which pops up in our mind is, what powers does Lync SDK give to the developers? It helps to unified communications enable our existing business applications, as I said. And when I say that, it helps us to integrate the unified communications features like real-time collaboration features like instant messaging, voice over IP, resource sharing in our existing business applications. We can extend the Lync client itself. So by that I mean we can develop small helper applications which would pop up in context of the ongoing Lync conversation and exchange data between the ongoing conversation and itself. So that is pretty powerful. And I'll cover that in detail when I come to the examples section. We can build a custom application with Lync features. So we can, from scratch, build a custom application which exploits the Lync features. So we can use WPF and integrate the Lync features in an application. The big one, totally replace the Lync client by a new UI. Now you'll be wondering, how can I do that? Lync SDK exposes all the features of the Lync client. So we can do everything the Lync client do with our Lync SDK. So we can totally replace the client. Now, there can be situations where you may feel the Lync client, default Lync client is not a very presentable UI or is not a very user-friendly UI. So everyone may have their own opinion. And you may want to go for a totally customized Lync client which your employees will use. Then you can actually suppress the current or the default Lync client by using the UI suppression mode, and your client will act as your custom application will act as the Lync client. So that is possible. So on the next slide, I'll be covering what features does Lync 2010 expose and what additional features does Lync SDK 2013 offer. So let's start with Lync SDK 2010. Now the SDK has APIs which allows the current application or the custom application to sign in as a currently signed in user. So if you are already signed in onto your Lync client and start the application which uses Lync SDK, the application will sign in into Lync as the current user. If the current user is not signed in or no one is signed in onto your Lync application, then then there are APIs which allow the input of credentials and then allow sign-in. So your application can pop up a login box and you can enter in the credentials and the application will be able to sign in. There are APIs which help searching of contacts onto the Lync contact list, and also there is a set of APIs which helps to retrieve the contact information and presence information of other users and publish the contact information and presence information of the user who is logged in. There are a set of APIs which help us to manage the contact lists and group management. So you can add users to your contact list, remove users from your contact list, then create groups and move users as groups. The most obvious APIs which the Lync SDK should have is creating and managing and handling the conversations, the instant messaging and audio-video conversations. And the namespaces which are responsible for doing this are conversations and conversations.audio-video namespace. You can also create conferences or join existing conferences by using the automation class from the extensibility namespace. You can also have contextual conversations. I will come to this when I take the example. This is very innovative feature and very fascinating feature. So we will discuss this with an example. Now, what does Lync SDK 2013 add to all these existing features? So in addition of all these basic features, Lync 2013 has application sharing APIs. There are APIs which list all the applications which are shareable, all the processes or resources which are shareable, and then there are APIs which allow the presenter to share this API with other participants, and then there are certain set of APIs which allow the presenter to give control of the running applications to other participants so that they can control them. On similar lines, there are content sharing APIs too. So you can create your own content like PowerPoint or whiteboards or simple files and then upload the content and share it with the participants. And the cool thing here is that when you are sharing the content, the participants can contribute and alter the content or annotate the content. And all other participants, including you, will see the changes made by a particular participant. So, and you'll be able to save those also. That is pretty powerful. Another set of APIs which Lync SDK 2013 has to offer is the persistent chat APIs. Now, most of us know what persistent chat is. It is nothing but chat rooms. So, using the persistent chat APIs, you can create chat rooms, delete chat rooms if you are the organizer, add people, invite people for chatting, add people, remove people if you are the organizer. Then search for data within the chat room, across chat rooms. So everything related to the chat rooms you can do using the persistent chat APIs. Now you can create a persistent chat application using a simple Silverlight add-in, which will pop up into the conversation window extension, or you can create a totally custom application using WPF and give your own look and feel to your chat room application. So to this point, we covered all the theory. Now let's move towards some examples. My first example over here is named Essence of Presence. Now in this screenshot, you're seeing two windows. Window in the background is the normal Lync client in which one of my friend has logged in. So you can see his presence information. He has set some personal note, and his availability status is as busy. Okay, and in the foreground, you have application. This is a WPF application, which is using Lync SDK to retrieve the presence information of the currently logged in user, and this application allows the user to publish his new presence information. So for retrieving the presence information, this application uses the get contact information method from the contact class, and then when the user is done with all the editing and all, and he hits the publish button, this application uses the begin publish contact information method from the self class. So this is a very simple application, but a very powerful way to demonstrate how we can control the Lync client from an external application. Now I just have a screenshot over here, but I'm sure you all will like to see this application in action. And this, as you know, this is a webinar in a series. We have one of the webinars created by one of my colleagues hosted on our website, and I'll point you to that webinar, which has end-to-end demos of all the applications or all the examples I'll be referring to in this particular webinar. You can visit that link and see all these examples in action. Moving on to my second example, conversation translator. Now this is very interesting. Now on the screen you are seeing a big window divided into two panes. The left pane is a normal Lync conversation window, and the right pane is an extension to this particular conversation window, and that's why it is called as conversation window extension. It is nothing but an embedded browser in which your custom applications can load, and this application runs in context with the current ongoing conversation. So you can exchange data between the two. So you can exchange data between the conversation flow and the custom application. Now the custom application should be a Silverlight application because so that you can take advantage of the Lync SDK. Now I'll explain this example. Imagine a scenario where I have a friend, French, and likes to conversate in French, and I have decided that I will chat with him in French. Now I don't know French, I know English. So I have one option, so I'll start an IM chat and open up some translator application or do online translation of the text, and then copy paste it into the conversation window and send it across to my friend. And when my friend sends something in French to me, I will have to go back to the application and translate from French to English and then understand it. Now this is a quite tiresome process. So this particular application comes in handy. Now this application which is loaded in the right hand side pane is a Silverlight application which translates text from one language to another using the Bing APIs, and then sends the translated text as contextual data directly onto the conversation flow. So I'll just hover over a text box. Are you able to see that? So the text box on which I am hovering right now, I type in English text over here, and it will be converted and translated, and it will appear in the text box right here. So as soon as I hit the arrow button, the text, the French text, the translated text would be sent onto the conversation flow as contextual data, and my French friend will be able to see the text in French. Now when the person in front, the French friend, will type in something in French and send it to me, I'll have an event handler listening in my application which will detect that there is an incoming IM message and it is in French. So it will translate it back to English and give me an English translation of that. So that's why the window title says viewing English sending French. So I'll be viewing the English translation in the right-hand side pane, and in the left-hand side pane, I'll be sending French translation. Isn't that cool? That is really powerful. And here is how contextual data exchange comes into play. So let's summarize what we learned to this point of time. And I can literally summarize it in one line. That the Lync SDK gives our custom applications, our existing business process applications, the capability to everything which the default Lync client does. So, and I think we can do much more because we are writing the code and we have the control. So I can do anything in my application. I can do more customizations than actually the Lync client does. Now, till this point of time, we have seen how we can do things on the client side. Now, there are some customizations possible on the server side also, and let's move towards that. So, UCMA, what is UCMA? So, UCMA stands for Unified Communications Managed API, and as the name suggests, it's a managed API, so it is a C# API, which can facilitate fast development. So basically, it is an API set that helps with middle-tier applications, those work with the Lync server platform to address specific business needs. And what can be these business needs? What can be these business scenarios? So the first example which comes to my mind is a contact center or help desk application, where people call in, and then based on their input or the data they provide, the systems would intelligently route them to a specific or appropriate customer care executive. UCMA can come in really handy over here. So we can write a UCMA application which can analyze the data and intelligently shortlist customer care executives and finally route the call intelligently to the user. There can be notification systems implemented in UCMA. For example, a UCMA application can keep listening to external triggers, and whenever a trigger is raised, it can send automated notifications on the Lync to the Lync users, to a group of Lync users. There can be interactive bots. So I'll take an example when we get to the example section on what are interactive bots. But to tell you briefly what interactive bot is, it is a UCMA application which interacts with is in continuous interaction with the user. So for example, if the user types in something, the bot replies with something relevant, and then the user types another thing and the bot replies with something relevant. That kind of interaction goes on between the UCMA application and the user. And conferencing systems. So if you have a two-way conversation going on, you can escalate the conversation to a conference by adding more people, and you can schedule conferences. You can do many things, many modalities you can use in conferencing. For example, an IM conference or audio-video conference, so on. Moving on to the next slide, we have a block diagram here which represents the logical distribution of APIs. You can clearly see 3 layers over here. The first layer is the communication and collaboration layer. This layer basically facilitates instantiation, maintenance, and handling of different communication channels like instant messaging, audio, video, conferencing, so on. It also has classes and APIs which allow us to retrieve presence information of other users and also to publish our own presence information. Also has certain APIs for maintaining and creating contact lists and playing with contact groups, creating groups, moving people around, and so on. The second layer is an important layer. It is called as platform and endpoints layer. So to establish any sort of connection or any sort of communication using UCMA, you need a collaboration platform. And this particular layer has classes which facilitate instantiation of a collaboration platform and setting up of the platform. So different settings. Now we need to understand what is endpoints. Now in this conversation which is going on right now between us, each one of us is an end entity or an end device which is interacting with each other. And we are represented inside the communication system as logical endpoints so that the system can do actions on behalf of us. That is my definition of endpoints. And this particular layer facilitates creation of endpoints and maintenance of endpoints. So that is really important. So the lowest layer is the signaling layer. Now all low-level stuff happens in this layer. So making the actual connections with the ports, managing the connection life cycle, and passing on the actual data packets and all happens in this layer. So the developers there is no need of accessing this layer directly by a developer in normal business scenarios until and unless particular business scenarios demand so. Now the interesting part, the examples. My first example is an example of an application which is built on a contact center sample. So what you see on this screen is a Silverlight application, a Silverlight page, which lists products, and then each product has a link. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but there is a link which says that click to chat with an expert. So if you are interested in a particular product and if you want to know more about that product, you can click on that link. And when you click on that link, the Lync SDK, now this is a hybrid application where the Lync SDK is also used and the UCMA APIs are also used. So when the user clicks on a particular on that link, click to chat with an expert, the Lync SDK, which resides at the client side, creates a instant messaging call between the user and the UCMA application sitting on the server side. And when it creates this IM call, it passes the contextual data towards, on the conversation flow. So in this example, it has passed that interested in cell phones Nokia. So the UCMA application now knows that this particular user is interested in Nokia cell phones. He needs an expert opinion on that. So the UCMA application puts this particular call on hold. Maybe it will, it shows a message, please hold while we connect you. And in the background, what it does is it scans to the expert database and finds experts who have expertise in Nokia phones, and then using the presence APIs determines which of those experts are available at this moment. And then it creates an IM call with each one of them and waits for a response. The moment any of the expert responds positively, saying that yes, he is interested in servicing this call, the UCMA application drops all other calls and connects the expert with the customer so that they can chat. Now at any moment, now the chat is going on. Now at any moment, if the customer feels that he's not getting enough information through the chat, he can escalate the chat to a voice call by clicking the call me button. And that is again done through a UCMA APIs. Now this can be programmed, this can be looked at and programmed in many different ways according to different business needs. So some call centers or contact centers may have a policy where they have a supervisor monitoring every call. So when the UCMA application creates a call between the expert and the user or the customer, it can add a third user, which is a supervisor, and create a conference. Or if the user expert feels that he needs some more some opinion of some other expert, he can pull in users and escalate the conversation to a conference. So many possibilities, and we can actually program it as per the business needs. So the control is in our hands. We can develop the UCMA application as we want, as per the requirement, and then the call flows, we can have total control over the call flows and the modalities which we are including in the call. Moving on to my second example. Yeah, as you can see, this is application similar to the one we saw when we were seeing the Lync SDK examples. So this also has two panes. The left pane is a normal conversation window, and the right pane is the conversation window extension. That's the embedded browser. Now I'll talk about the left pane first. So I also mentioned about interactive bots in one of my slides. So this is nothing but an interactive bot. So the help desk application which appears in the contact list. My friend has initiated a conversation, IM conversation with the help desk bot, and he has said hi. And the bot had responded saying, welcome to help desk, and this is the first level menu. And you can choose any one of these options. So when the user will choose any of these options and type in the option in the conversation box and send it across to the bot, say for example, if he chooses 2, Outlook and SharePoint, he just has to type 2 and then send the IM message to the bot or the UCMA application. The UCMA application will process this input, and if there is a submenu for this particular option, then it will show the submenu on the IM window, and the user can then choose from other options in the submenu. But if it is a leaf node menu or an end node menu, then it will show a message similar to what we saw in the contact center application, that we are looking for experts, please hold, and we will get you connected soon. Now this is the general flow of the interactive bot. On the right hand side, we have a Silverlight application doing the exact same functionality, but the user can then navigate by clicking. Now, the interesting thing in this particular application is that the two panes, the conversation pane and the pane in which the Silverlight application is loaded, are always in sync. Now, this is possible because these two things, the actual conversation and the Silverlight application, they can exchange contextual data. So whenever the user navigates using the Silverlight application, the IM window is updated and the same level of menu is shown on the IM window. And whenever the user uses the IM window for navigating between menus, Silverlight application syncs up with the menu and shows the same level. Now you must be wondering what are the advantages of such an application. So I'll tell you the advantages from the user's perspective first, or the customer's perspective first. So when you dial in a typical help desk number, you typically hear IVR menu. IVR stands for interactive voice response. So IVR menu is read for you. So you'll hear all the options 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you'll choose your option and maybe punch in your option. Then the lady will present read out the submenu for you. And by the time you reach to your desired option, you have already invested 30 seconds into it. And then the IVR software will tell you that please wait till we get some customer care executive speak to you, and then you will be on hold. And that hold time can be anything between 5 minutes to 7 minutes, something like that. So using that system, you are actually wasting 7 minutes of your time. But if you're using this system, you can just type in your selection or choices very quickly, and when the bot responds saying that we are looking for experts, you can just minimize this application and do continue whatever work you are doing. When the bot or the UCMA application will find an expert ready to answer your call, then only it will create a call between you and the expert, and then you can pick up the call. So that saves a lot of time as far as the users or the customer side is concerned. Now, if we consider it from this particular scenario from the organization's point of view, the customer is dialing a toll-free number, so he does not have to pay for it, but the organization has to. So the time which an average customer spends before he actually speaks to the customer care executive is all wasted time and wasted money for the organization. So from the organization's point of view, they are saving a lot of money. So we'll summarize what we saw about UCMA till now, and that too I can summarize in a very brief way. UCMA is a very strong library for development of middle tier applications or Lync server platform, and these applications can save a lot of time and money for the organization. Now, as I promised, here is the link where you can see all these examples in action. So you can make a quick note of it, and or can you, or should I type it in the chat box so that everybody gets the link? Okay. Yes, I'm over to Anjani for the Q&A question and answer section.
Thank you, Dinesh. I'm sure it was wonderful and it was very insightful. So, Dinesh, while you were doing the talking, we were busy keeping a track of all the questions and comments coming in from the participants, and you will be delighted to know that we have a lot of questions, Dinesh. So, in the interest of time, we can take few of the questions now, and remaining will be answered and shared with all the attendees over email. So, while Dinesh is choosing with which questions to answer, I will request all the participants, if you still have any comments or queries or feedbacks, you can still type in, and we will try to address all of them. So Dinesh, you can just choose the questions. Meanwhile, as far as Lync and UCMA is concerned, Harbinger Systems has extensive experience in building customized solutions on unified communication platform, that is Microsoft Lync. Our proficiency in software product development and in-depth understanding of Lync platform comes handy in the project execution. We have expertise in Lync, UCMA architecture, and UCMA 3.0 SDK server-side customization. So please feel free to contact us using the details on the screen, which will soon follow, and we'll be very happy to help you in all the possible ways. Oh, I see Dinesh ready with some of the questions. Okay. So Dinesh, what I'll do is I'll read out the question first so that everybody knows, and then you can answer them. So Mark is asking, how fast can a custom application using Lync SDK be developed?
Okay. Lync SDK is basically very easy to use. You can integrate most of the features by just dragging and dropping the controls. So the development is pretty fast, and most of the project can be completed within a time frame of 2 weeks. So I would say an average project should be completed within 2 weeks. So it's very fast development. But if you have complex requirements, then it may vary a little. But it is pretty fast.
Okay, that was quick. I think Sanaya is asking, in case of the visual IVR application to pop up in user's conversation window extension, does the user have to install it?
Very good question. No, the answer is no. As I said, the CWE is an embedded browser. The applications which are loaded in the CWE are nothing but web applications hosted somewhere. These are usually Silverlight applications so that they can take advantage of the Lync SDK and contextual data. But it's not compulsory that they should be Silverlight applications. So you can have some helper application which does something for you but does not pass contextual data, and you are good with it, then you can load a normal HTML or ASP.NET website into the window extension. Now, for popping up the conversation window extension automatically when a conversation starts with a particular UCMA application, that particular UCMA application should be registered in the Windows registry. And this can be done in multiple ways. The most crude way is manually adding specific entries in the registry, but that is not recommended, not advisable, and the user will not have all the details about the UCMA application. The second thing is the application developer can host a registry file at some central location, and the user will download the registry file and run it on his Windows machine so that all the entries are in place. But the best and the most recommended way is the first time when the user pings the UCMA application, the UCMA application should reply back with a registry file, a .reg file, and prompt the user to install it or run it on his machine, saying that if you run this particular registry file, then the next time you interact with this particular application, you will get a jazzy UI and you will get a better experience. But in case the user decides to decline and not install the registry file, then also he is good. He can do all the actions and operations on that UCMA application using his IAM window. So that's the answer.
Oh, thank you, Dinesh. Now the next question is coming in from Ben SA. So I'm assuming SA is for South Africa. Ben is asking, can I integrate Lync SDK with my existing website which is developed in ASP.NET?
Yes, of course. All you need is a Silverlight component integrated with your current website, because Silverlight is Lync SDK is supported with Silverlight. So if you have a ASP.NET website and you can integrate a Silverlight page in it, your website will be UC enabled.
Right. So Ben, good news for you that yes, you can integrate it with your existing website. Next question is from Lydia, and Lydia is asking, can I access database from an UCMA application?
This is again a yes. The UCMA applications are nothing but simple, normal C# applications. So you can open connections to database and do all the other operations. The only one thing you must verify or make sure is that the database server should be accessible from your application server.
Okay, so this is from Ayad, and Ayad, thank you very much for joining us from Dubai. Ayad is asking, if I uninstall the Lync client, will my custom applications developed using Lync SDK work?
The answer is no, they will not, because as the Lync SDK API is used, currently running in process. If you don't want to see the Lync client, default client, you can suppress it by running it in UI suppression mode, but you cannot uninstall it.
Okay, so this is the last question which I would like to take, because this is Maria and she is logged in from Australia. That's surprising. Early morning, Maria. Now she's asking, can we access the signaling layer API directly?
Yes, we can. But most of the business in most of the business scenarios, there is no need of doing that, because the top two layers we saw in the block diagram, the platform and endpoints layer and the communication and collaboration layer, those do access the signaling layer internally when you create the objects of the classes. Now there can be a specific business scenario where you need to access the low-level objects of the communication stack. To be specific, the session initiation protocol stack, and if you need to modify the headers or read something which is cryptic and passed on in the header, then you can do that, and that is accessible basically, but there is no need if you want to address a normal business scenario.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Vivek, Shweta, and few more questions which I can see. We will definitely, let me assure you, we will definitely respond to you over email. Just in the interest of time, we are stopping here. Habib, thank you very much for your query. This is not a sales call, but definitely I'll take it up and I'll ensure that you get the rates as far as the services are concerned. So point noted, Habib. Now let me thank Dinesh for the wonderful and insightful session on Lync and UCMA. Dinesh, thank you very much for your patience and answering most of the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for attending this session, which was one of the topics in the series of webinars we have planned and already executed few in the last quarter, like responsive web design and mobility. from all of us here from Harbinger Systems, I would like to say have a good day ahead. We will be now closing the session. So still if you have something, we will keep it open for next 30 seconds or so. And reassuring you that all the responses to your queries and questions will come to you via email. Thank you so much from all of us here.